biggest complaint I've seen about 2XKO's gameplay so far is its neutral state. Now, while I do believe that this game does have kind of an iffy neutral, I also see a lot of people who don't quite understand it, and if you don't understand it, you're kind of just basically playing with one hand behind your back. So today, I kind of wanted to break down 2XKO's neutral in a way that actually makes sense so you can start better controlling your neutral in this game. But first, we need to understand what neutral even is. So, neutral in fighting games is basically the phase where neither player, you or your opponent, has a clear advantage. No one's in a combo or in a weak situation, and both are fighting for control. The main point I want you to take away from this definition is neutral is about creating an opportunity for yourself while also taking the least amount of risks. And what I mean by this is essentially getting in and maybe getting a combo while also maybe using a move to not be as laggy or as slow as other moves that may also lead into a combo. But before we get to that, these are the core goals of neutral that you want to be doing in every single match. Number 1, spacing. You want to control your distance, and this varies from character to character. So like if you're playing Vi, you want to be up and close and personal and pressing buttons on their shield and landing combos, but if you're Jinx, for example, you want to stay far away. The way how you want to space in neutral obviously varies from character to character. Number 2, whiff punishing. Baiting and punishing missed moves. Do you notice your opponent is maybe just throwing out a big move that has a lot of end lag for no reason? Maybe you can bait that out and then punish it. Number 3, zoning and anti-zoning. Basically just throwing a bunch of projectiles on the screen. If you're a character like, again, Jinx, or if you're playing a character like Vi, how can you destroy those projectiles and get back in and close a distance on a zoner? And then number 4, lastly, is movement. Whether it's dashing, walking, or jumping, what is the best way for your character to take space and close the gap safely? Now, kind of like how I mentioned before, not every character in any fighting game plays neutral the same. There's kind of 3 different archetypes that apply to each character in the game. Some characters are rushdown characters. For example, again, Vi. She wants to close the distance fast and just start throwing punches on you. She's not really good from far away. But what is good from far away is a zoner. Everyone knows zoners because everyone hates zoners in every fighting game ever. So like, again, Jinx doesn't exactly want to be close and personal like Vi does. She wants to be a mile away from you, half across the screen, throwing projectiles. They will basically want to keep you out and frustrate you. And then sometimes you have characters that don't really cater to any one particular archetype, and they can kind of play both depending on the matchup. Now, your best tools while in neutral is going to be projectiles, assists, maybe good jump in buttons, anti-airs to avoid other characters' good jump in buttons, and defensive movement, whether it's backdashing, push blocking, or maybe even parries. Now, the most common mistake you can do in neutral in almost any fighting game is creating a habit. Now, this mostly applies to newer players, but seasoned players can do this as well. They create a habit, whether you jump too much, or maybe you're throwing out big moves that aren't safe on shield. Maybe you're not being patient, you're being too aggressive, or maybe you're just tunnel visioning just one specific move you're trying to land and it doesn't quite work out. So basically, if you create a habit of doing one of these things, your opponent will see that that's a habit you have, and they will be able to predict what you're going to do. So that's going to lead to them punishing you in neutral, and then they're going to land a combo and yada yada. But for you, you might notice that your opponent is maybe he jumps too much. So then you can go, okay, so I know he's going to jump and land with a heavy. Let me punish him with an anti-air. I would say neutral is mostly kind of the mind game state of the game, where you're kind of trying to predict what your opponent's going to do, and it's kind of like a game of chicken. But yeah, the biggest thing you want to look out for in neutral when you're looking at your opponent is weeding out what kind of habits or things they kind of tend to do the most, and maybe try punishing those or learning how to avoid whatever they're doing the most. Some practicing you can do maybe to improve your neutral is maybe play matches where you only try to whiff punish your opponent. Don't exactly try to go in all the time, but just try to punish your opponent when they make a mistake in neutral. And then I would say probably also learning every mix-up option your character has, and maybe playing a match or a couple matches where you try to use a different approach option each time. Now, my personal take and my personal advice for playing neutral in 2XKO is, for starters, if you're playing the Juggernaut fuse, you are essentially playing without neutral whatsoever, unless maybe you're a character like Vi, but barely even Vi, honestly. But I would say maybe Ari has the best neutral on her own in the game. Neutral in this game is very heavily reliant on your assist. So if you don't have an assist, if you're not playing Double Down or another fuse that gives you an assist, you are kind of basically playing at a disadvantage. I know a lot of newer players kind of start off with Juggernaut, because it's easier to learn one character first without learning two characters at the same time. But you are taking away a lot of the neutral ground in this game if you play the Juggernaut fuse. 90% of the time in this game, when you are in the neutral state, you're throwing out your assist whenever you can, and a lot of the assists are way better in neutral than others, like Blitzcrank assist, maybe Vi assist. So yeah, basically, a lot of the neutral in this game comes down to what character you're playing, unfortunately, and what fuse you're playing. Like, if you're playing Alawi Juggernaut, you will not have a neutral state in the game at all. But if you're playing Ari and Blitzcrank, you are going to be constantly flying in the air, bringing them to you, this and that. Your neutral state is going to be way, way better than maybe your opponent. So I think it's neutral in this game, 2XKO, kind of boils down to, I would say, 80% skill and learning how to punish your opponents and this and that and playing correctly, while also 20% comes down to what your character's options are in neutral and having an assist and what your assist can do. It's just because there's so many options where you can play this game differently, the neutral state of this game can kind of either be super crazy and super aggressive, there's a lot going on in neutral, or maybe there's neutral is just really iffy, you're playing footsies, it's like throwing out straight hits and there's like really nothing going on, it just feels bad to play. But anyways, next time you're in a match, try not to think of like, how do I hit them? Try to think of like, what tools do I have that I can use to win neutral? And also be careful of using the same option over and over again, while also looking out for options maybe your opponent is doing too much, so you can punish that. Because once you win the neutral game, that's when your path starts opening up to winning the entire match in general. So anyways, what is your opinion on neutral in 2XKO? Do you have any issues with the neutral in the game, or do you play neutral perfectly fine? I know it's kind of like a wide brushstroke across the board. Some people say the game has zero neutral whatsoever, and then some people say it's perfectly fine. All I know is that I've seen a lot of kind of misinterpretation of what neutral is, so mostly on Twitter. So I figured I'd make a video breaking it down. But anyways, yeah, just let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, and I'll probably reply to you because I like talking about this game. So anyways, I'll see you later. Thank you.